So welcome you all. Welcome to the website's call. Today is Monday and we'll begin off. We have a pretty big agenda today lined up. So we'll start off with Aditya. So there are the updates for the community members filter, the email template for the discussion forum, and then we have the copy to clipboard feed. I'm not sharing. Oh, sorry. I'll just share my screen. So we have this three agendas today: the community members filter, the discussion template, and
I think it's only one because the community members filter has already been merged, and the copy to clipboard feature I just added it to the docs because last week I wasn't able to find it how it was being done. So now I have, so I've added it to the documentation how we can do it. Can you hear me?
yeah. But there's some issue with the DJ.
It's like nails on a chalkboard. There was a feedback loop where it just went into this really high pitched, like, just.
Better now. Okay. Yeah. Just trying out my new headphones. Whatever. Let's go. So I have made the discuss template. Like I've just started doing it. I'll just share my screen.
Yeah, sure.
So since I don't know what's going to be inside it yet, so how do I move this? Yeah. So I was writing it in like in my like just in a normal HTML, not in discuss yet. I'll just copy paste the code there later on. So this is what I have right now. I just need to know what's going to go inside so I can make it accordingly. This is I've just made the header and the footer. And I don't have the fonts installed. That's why the logo is looking messed up. Otherwise, it's of the right font. Yeah.
So are you using an SVG for the logo? Like we already have this image.
Yeah. This is an SVG. Oh no, this is a PNG actually. Sorry.
Okay, then that should be fixed, I think, because that's a logo that is nothing to do with the font, I guess.
No, even Lee sent me the logo last day, and it was all weird on my system because I think it's because of the fonts, but this is the exact logo that we use.
Okay, no problem. So I think you can also share your updates. Like no problem if the PR is merged, we can just have a look on what you have did.
So the issue was with Safari again with the community members. I'll go ahead and see. Yeah, so the filters was not working over here, like it was not visible. Now it is. Yeah, that's it. We discussed this last week, so that's why.
Okay.
Yeah. And the Meshery docs also, I'll just show that as well. So I have added this, like this was not written, that's why the copy feature was not coming. Like this is exactly how you have to do it, otherwise the copy feature will not be added. So yeah, I have been trying to make a reusable just and includes copy feature so that it's easier to do it, because this is just cumbersome for even like a short piece of code. So if I am able to execute it, then it'll just take one line where we just write include copy.html and the copy feature should work. That's it.
Yeah. Did you have a demo of I might have just missed it, but with the copy icon in there?
Oh yeah, that was last week. I actually removed it from right now. I don't have docs running right now, but I'm working on it.
Okay. And this is more about
yeah.
Please. Good. Did you end up getting placement of the? Wait, let me ask this. On Meshery.io, there's the icon that's there, and the it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't really matter that much. The icon that you used last time is fine. It was different than what's on Meshery.io, and which is not a big deal. But I think the clipboard icon was maybe outside of the.
Yeah. That was the problem. Like I just have to get that inside the code. Otherwise, it's working better than the one we have now, because I don't remember which page it's on. But right now the thing is, if we click on the copy button, it doesn't do any changes, so you don't know that it is copied or not. But mine has that toggle feature, but the only problem is I can't get it inside the code snippet.
Gotcha. Yeah. If you, I mean, just as a point of reflection, if you look at the implementation that's on Meshry.io, the marketing site, if you will, or the project site, you might get some ideas, or you might see so a lot of times what'll be used in that type of, a lot of times absolute positioning will be used within the particular component that you want to, or not component, the particular tag that you want to show the clipboard, or like show that icon. If you go to the getting started with the platform icons, if you and click on any of the platform icons, you'll find. Yeah.
So now there is like a tool, like this thing that is this is also getting cut, whatever, but like this shows that it's been copied, but in docs.meshry that doesn't happen. Like it's just the button, there is no text change or anything of that sort. So yeah, we could do that also. Like we could just add the text so that the user understands that it's copied.
Nice. I know no one likes to hear this, but I'll say it anyway because it's still true, which is, well, I'll say it like this. There's a reason why we're using Jekyll, 4 or 5 times. Part of it is because once you learn how to do, once you learn how some of its functions or features, you get economies of scope, because then you're quite familiar with how the other sites run. And so kind of the same concept applies here. If you've done an implementation of, a clipboard here, like reusing that same implementation on, on the other site, is you get economies of scope because you don't have to, like here, there's an issue. It's like the Z index is not exactly where we would want for it to be. If someone does fix that, great. Then it would also be fixed on docs.meshry.io if we were using, the same implementation.
I think it's a little different. I'm not sure. I'll have to check, because I haven't seen it on meshry.io yet. So I'll just have to go through it. Okay.
And I guess that I should clarify, be more direct. Are we using clipboard.js? Well, maybe you haven't looked, but
yeah. This is clipboard.js.
Okay, then good. And then ideally we would. Okay, good.
I was trying to do it through Jekyll, like included in the includes folder, so that it's easier to implement. But this is using clipboard.js.
Okay. Oh, okay. Which is just JavaScript looking for a particular tag.
Yeah. So that's why we have to add like three separate divs and everything to just add, like even for 2 lines of code. I feel it's a bigger hassle. Like if we have to add a lot of stuff.
Sure. Yeah. If you do continue down the include path, you might be able to you would pass the include argument, the text that you would want to go inside of the code area. Yeah. And that way you could achieve what you were looking for, which is an include for a simple include for just like, hey, here's something that you want to have the clipboard associated with. I mean,
but that's what the issue is. Like you can't include something inside the code snippet. Like I've done that, like include it inside the code snippet. It just reads it as a part of the code. I've put it inside like double braces and done it, but that's what the issue is. So yeah, that's what I've been trying to look, like how I'm supposed to add an includes inside a code snippet, because that's the issue. Like the includes is not becoming a part of the code snippet. Yeah.
It does. It is a special case. Cool. Oh, one item on the logo in your email template is I think that the font actually does look correct. It's the aspect ratio of the image itself. So, likely both the height and the width are being specified for the logo. And so it's a little bit, it looks like it went on a diet. It's quite skinny. So maybe, yeah, you should tell me the secret, what you're using.
No, the height and the width is definitely specified.
Nice. So if you only specify the width, I think then we'll get some color back in those cheeks, roundness.
Okay, cool.
And then in terms of like what goes inside, it's like good. Well, you're good. I'm glad that you and Josh you're talking to Josh about this. Actually, there's one thing is in your browser. I don't know if this page is not centered. It's off to the left.
Yeah, because like for the email template, it just has to be aligned together, because if I put it on discuss, so it'll be that way itself.
I see. The content of it. So I think what'll end, I think what'll end up happening is you'll go into staging-discuss.layer5.io. You'll go in and you'll do sort of HTML and CSS editing, I think, within the context of the system itself. You'll be able to use variables. In some respects, it's just holistically, whatever the update that they are providing is just like goes inside of your div for the white, for the page area. Like,
actually in the morning, like staging was running quite slow for me. Might have just been my internet, so that's why I did.
So that was some major update we're having. That's why, probably. So I
that's
saw.
why,
I want to discuss about that as well. So we'll talk about it here.
Yeah, so that's why I did it, because I started working over here itself, but since it was like really slow, like that's why I started doing it on my system. Like I had started over here, but I didn't end up finishing it. A lot of chats.
Okay, so we move on to back. We'll move on back to the next topics we have are the learning paths. So do we have Nitish, Chinmay, and Nikhil on call?
Yep, I'm here and Nikhil is here. Chinmay is also here.
Okay, then we'll start with Nitish as per the order. So that's the navigation between courses for different service meshes. So
yep, like I hope like the background is not that much, like it's heavy. It's a heavy raining over here. Sir. Is it disturbing or?
not much. We are able to get 90% of you.
Okay.
And who will not like there are people who haven't.
So as we discussed in the last.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yep. So as we discussed in the last meeting, like the service mesh switch, in case like if you want to go back to like if we choose to go to the next service and we are on a current page, then if that chapter is not available in that particular course, I mean for that particular service mesh, then we were showing an error page. So I have implemented like what we discussed in the last meeting, that if that particular chapter is not available, it should take them to the starting of that. I mean, the first chapter of that particular course. So right now I'm in actually the PR for, like indicating in which chapter we are in right now. It is not yet merged. That's why we're not able to see the highlighted links over here. But once it is merged, we'll be able to see. So for now, like we are in getting started page right now with link ID. So if I go to debugging, and which is actually not there in Istio. So when I try to go to the Istio service mesh for this particular thing, then it would redirect me back to the getting started page. And yeah, this is the change that I've made. And on top of that, I have also included like previously, like this whole table of components is actually fetched from the front matter that we defined in the MDX file. But right now it is being dynamically rendered using the chapters that are being generated. So that is another change that I have made. And also like we can before like as I have made it dynamically rendered, so we might not like, it might be the case that we might not be able to operate on what order it should be rendered, right? So I've also added one more field to the front matter so that we can define that order in which the courses should be displayed. I mean, the chapter should be displayed. So yeah, this is what it is. I guess, yeah.
With respect to the ordering, is that based on front matter data in each? Okay, which is, okay. It's nice. The problem also becomes that it becomes fragile. So if you do insert, I mean, not that this would necessarily happen that often, so maybe it's not, maybe we're erring on the right side, which is if you insert like a course in the middle, you need to go update the other four, and
Yep.
it'll be infrequent that happens. So, okay, maybe.
Yeah, I'll think about it. Like we must be able to come up with a solution for that as well. I'll try to refine this mechanism.
Yeah, and it may not, I mean, now that I said that comment, like, yes, what I said is true, although it's probably not where it's, because you would run it, because it's only like a 2-minute task, and because you'd only run into it once every 6 months or something, it's probably not that big of a.
Yeah, we wouldn't be changing the chat. I mean, we wouldn't be inserting the chapters to that too often, right?
Right. And, like having, right, having that level of control. Yeah, there's something to be said about having that level of control over what goes where without having to gerrymander some other GraphQL query that's ordering them by some other sequence, and then you like. So yeah, actually, let me renege my comment. Let me retract my comment. I think it's not worth looking into. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, for the part of ordering, I'm not sure if GraphQL is able to order it without providing a front matter. I'm not sure, but if anyone else of you are aware about how if that can be done without adding a front matter, maybe we can try out that approach. That will reduce the dependency of adding another front matter a bit. But yeah, as Lee mentioned, since if we are adding chapters for a course, that would generally be all together, considering we are adding all the chapters for a course at a time. And coming to adding a new course, I think that would be very occasional, and updating a single front matter for all the other courses so won't take much time. If at all we stick with the order front matter for all the courses.
Yeah, I think there's two other ways that GraphQL could accomplish this without without directly adding a new front matter attribute in each file. And I'm only saying this for purposes of like educating ourselves, not because we should spend any more time, like, or I don't believe that we should. But to Nikhil's point, like, okay, you could use attributes of the file itself, like when it was created, or the alphabetical title, some other existing front matter attribute, like alphabetical ordering of the title or something like that. But that's, neither of those things are going to accomplish what's needed, which is, a distinct ordering based on the logical flow, not based on last updated or like some other attribute of the file. So I think there's one other way, there's probably a couple of other ways, but I mean, one that would be most handy would be, okay, well, in each course, each learning path, I forget the information architecture that we're using, but each course that has 10 labs, you could potentially have a separate index file, an index.md or something like that, where you're sequencing them all in one place. And even at that, though, it's basically the same thing. You basically, instead of creating front matter in each file, you're doing it in a central place. And like, yeah, that's slightly nicer, but it's, again, not worth the time. I should have.
Yeah, actually, coming to your point on having an index.md file, we were following that approach previously, like listing out all the table of content items on the index.md file. But since coming forward, we are having different chapters for different service meshes. We had to move away from that approach. Otherwise, based on how Gatsby works, is creating a file or path for each page or each path that we come across. Each page for each path that we come across on our file system. So if we create an index file for the each service mesh folder, I guess we would be getting a path, but that can be controlled. Like that's not a big challenge, but that can be controlled in the file. But yeah, that would be the case.
I guess I'll stop the sharing now.
Next is Chinmay.
Yes. Hello, everyone. The issue is completed right now, just one commit away. I'll commit it by the end of this meeting, and soon it will be fixed. I have tested it on the three browsers. Like Nitish mentioned, it was different on Chrome as well as Brave. So I tested the changes on both Chrome as well as Brave. I tried it multiple ways to rectify this, but I couldn't find any solution. So one way was to add browser specific styles. I discussed this with Nikhil also. So yes, it will be completed by.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we had to take that approach of adding browser specific styles is because I'm not sure, but Chrome and Brave works similarly, but Firefox works differently from both of them. And some pixel is different for Firefox compared to Chrome and Brave. And that might be the case for Safari as well. So that's the first case that has happened till now. But what can I say? Yeah, it got me to have a laugh because of that, of the Safari and the Chrome issue. But what could be done? I think that's the only option we have. And I think if it works fine for Firefox, it should work fine for Safari as well. Okay, so do you want to talk about your topic as well, Nikhil? Not much we have on there. We have some contributors pushing PRs for the chapters that we have. There are few open PRs related to it. Another one was like one of the contributors is pushing 1 to 5, 1 to 4. Another one has taken 5 to 8, but the second PR is not yet updated. So we might have to, like, I will ask the other contributor who is actually interested in pushing the code to get the other 4 done as well. Then we'll have the 3 courses completely migrated. Okay. Yeah, that's all. So, yeah. Okay, then we'll move on to the next one, that is the community handbook updates by Debopriya and Anita and Ruth. So Debopriya, do you want to share your updates regarding this?
Yeah, I can share. So I have added this sidebar along with like I've added it to all the pages wasn't there previously, and since there were a lot of pages, I still couldn't complete doing all of them. So these are left, but I've done most of them.
So I remember like Lee was talking, we should not have this slider for this programs page, and then Lee did agree, or I don't know.
Yeah. Not the carousel. Yeah, it's a nice, oh gosh, what's the, yeah, you know, there's this room for carousel in the handbook itself. There's, you know, it actually, and like, this is not a bad example of where you would use a carousel. You have a collection of items. If you're not necessarily looking to dedicate a whole page to that item, but what you're looking to try to do is just let people know that like this is actually an appropriate use of the carousel. It's just the way that it's presented. I think if we updated it slightly, we might be in a lot better position, because a good use of the carousel here is in acknowledgement of there's something that's very pertinent to being mentioned in the handbook about internship programs. There's a collection of them. The handbook isn't the source of authority for that particular piece of content, but it is important to call out. And so if you envision a page in which the page is saying, as a community, we participate in various internship programs, and we do lots of those, and they're nice, and blah, blah, blah. And it's being described and things in general. And they start very frequently, and and here's some FAQs or whatever. Like, if then what you have is a smaller portion of an overall page is a carousel, like it's just an in-page carousel. Like, oh, okay. And you're just like, you're not trying to tell them all the details about the way the MLH were engaged there or the way they were engaged here. You're just giving them kind of a preview and letting them maybe drill in or drill out, link out to the full-blown program page. That gives people, rather than them, because here the feeling is that you're navigating the pages of the handbook through a carousel. So if you invert, I don't know, hopefully that makes sense. If you invert your approach, and you're
I was also thinking I could do something like this, because since it's a lot of information, I could use this component. Maybe it would look better.
That's a really cool component, by the way. Yeah, here's the thing is, well, if you navigate to the programs page today, if you were to go to like, under community, it's not obvious, but if you go to community and then you go open source internship programs at the very bottom. Okay, so here's the way that these are being displayed in a grid today, not using, like, basically we're just recreating the same content on a different page. And like, that's not necessarily a negative. It becomes, if you were sourcing the exact same content, as long as you're not replicating this, as long as you don't have the same content written twice, but rather you're making a query to pull over that text, then you're okay, because then you don't have to, you're not creating a sustaining issue. But I guess the point is, like, the handbook isn't really the place to describe all of what She-Code Africa is and how it works and how we engage with them and how to get involved there. It's more like the handbook is, One thing that can make sense to potentially reproduce in the handbook is there's an FAQ. If you scroll down a little bit, I think there's an FAQ section here. Yeah, like this is dynamically rendered based on a component with a GraphQL with a query. Like potentially just including this same content in the handbook, since it's dynamic and we would only update it in one place. Like, it may not be bad to include. We don't want to repeat ourselves too much. And the handbook isn't the place to fully describe the programs. But Anita, what are your thoughts, or any?
Okay. Regards the FAQ, we were thinking of merging these ones here and the ones that are going to put on the Meshri website, because there are questions regards Meshri and Layer5 on the Meshri website. So once you merge all the FAQs together in the community handbook as community FAQs or Layer5 FAQs. Yeah. So every question regarding the community, both on Layer5 project or Mesh project or the service mesh performance, they're all in one place.
Got you. Yeah. If you go to, if you were to navigate to /about, I think it's /about.
Okay.
Good. And then outside of the handbook, though, instead it would be, instead of handbook about, it would be company about.
Oh, okay.
I think this page has the full compilation of FAQs, I think. Keep going. No, it's not this page. There's a page that it might just be, if you go to the footer and search for, yeah, it could be FAQ. Yeah. There you go. I'm not sure where this is linked to, or where I think it's somewhere in the footer that we link to this. But to Anita's point, like this is the full collection of FAQs. So the handbook, the thing with, in general, what you don't want to do is, I don't know, in general, so what would make sense for the handbook is if there's a set of FAQs that are tagged with community, perfect, then exposing that set in the handbook, highly appropriate. It is the most appropriate place to show those. This full collection would also show the community ones. But yeah, like fully replicating all of these over there is like, well, does it make sense to have the service mesh questions over there? Maybe. Yeah, sure. Maybe some of the Layer5 ones or something, but like.
Maybe
Does
this
that-
one, because this is a little general. Only the Layer5 section.
Yeah. I mean, there's even better ones to get into community. Like there's good new ones to bring up on the community, which is everyone, like, you know, here's a sample question is, I don't know Golang, should I join? Or is everyone welcome? Or why are all the meetings around this time? Or I missed a meeting, how do I make sure I stay subscribed? Or hey, there's a lot of stuff that happens in Slack, but it goes away. What do we do about that? I see that there are mailing lists, but I haven't really gotten any emails. How do I confirm that I'm signed up? Hey, I joined the community, but I actually want to unsubscribe. How do I do that? Like those are all great questions that are specific to the way that the community works and that we don't have answers. Or here's a great one. Actually, do we have if you could do a quick search for Meshmate on, we might have just on this page, sorry, just on do we have an FAQ that says, what is a Meshmate?
I don't think so.
That's another great one for, like,
Or
there's one.
how do you get a Meshmate?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, we should absolutely have a community FAQs. But it's kind of the same thing. It's just like with the internship programs. It's like, well, there's a whole collection of pages for people to dig into the full details of those and to the history of years prior, and having info about the fact that we participate in those we should absolutely have that in the handbook, but the full details is more like, it's more like the thing that the handbook can speak to is like, how many active internship, or like, I'm going to phrase these like FAQs. I'm not saying that these have to be presented as FAQs, but the program section could talk about, it can give examples to links to blog posts of people who've done successful internships. And what does that look like? It could discuss what happens if you try to land an internship and like a GSOC one and you don't get it that year, does that mean that you would perpetually never get it? Or does that mean that you have to wait a whole year, or that there isn't, you couldn't get into a different intern? Anyway, my point is like, I don't know that all of that's covered in the internships FAQ. And those are certainly things that could be spoken to in the handbook, because those are general questions that people have as they engage in the community. Hey, does the community take kindly to people coming? Well, I don't know how you want to phrase it, but any people being here, or I've been told, like one thing to say is like, I've been told that engaging in the community is not distinct, not particularly distinct from engaging in an internship. Is that true? And how is that true? You want to try to have as much unique content as possible, I guess is what I'm saying. And it's like, hey, how do I didn't get an internship. How do I best take advantage of what I can in the community to basically get that same experience? Yeah. Nice. Oh, yeah. People also oftentimes have the question of like, well, as I look over the internships, what particular focus do they have? Or what's the project that I might intern on doing? People have that question a lot. And there's a general answer to be given to that withstands the test of time that you can put into the handbook. That's like, well, go figure it out, go propose one is part of the answer. So anyway, I know a lot of that sounded like FAQs, but it doesn't have to be an FAQ style thing. Cool, good. I mean, good. So if we go back to, yeah, Deborah, if you go back, it's nice. You guys are making it, you gals in this case are making a lot of progress. Do we have the ability to have a second level menu item?
Yeah, I can add that. But the thing is, since there are many topics that like crosses the page, if I add sub items, I added it before. This was becoming too long, so it wasn't fitting on the screen to scroll down here as well as here, which is why I removed it. But that can be added.
Potentially, maybe it won't be so bad if it's an accordion that only lets you have one section open at a time. It might help keep it tighter.
Yeah, that can be. The thing is, some of these, like code of conduct, does not have subtopics inside it. So if we can do something like, maybe if I hover on this, it will show me the topics or something like that. Or what you said also can be done.
It's good. Either no preference here. What happens when someone goes, they hit the handbook and they go back?
They go back to the home page.
Okay.
The
And
home
is
page is
this
very simple right now. I haven't designed it properly.
Oh, okay. Is the topics that you have on the homepage, are those the same as you find in the
Yeah.
On the menu, yeah.
Anita, what are your thoughts on the homepage in terms of?
Well, I think the way it's organized now is good, but when you click on about, we should be able to see the content, the subheadings under about when we click on about, and not the entire content of the handbook.
So like another step in between.
Yeah, something like that. But if this way now, it looks like we are going to see everything in the handbook in this about section, whereas it's just the about that exists here. And if you click on the community, we will have to like see everything on the menu bar on the entire handbook, whereas we just want to see what exist under the community section or the contribution section or just the about section?
Yeah, do you? Okay. As you think about that intermediary set of, or well, that intermediary piece of info that you're thinking of, is that in your mind, is there there's a landing page for the handbook at like /community/handbook that gives an overview of the fact that there's a handbook, what its purpose is, and how to maybe navigate it, how to jump to a particular section. And Anita, you're thinking like, hey, if you jump to the about section, does that take you to basically this same type of view, but filtered only for about, or?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. As you think through that and how people will kind of like if they're done with the about section, I mean, I don't know if you ladies do a really intentionally ugly wireframe just to get that flow down, I think it'll be helpful to your train of thought, like to how it is that you consider the user would, digest the content and how they navigate back once they've drilled in, how they can come back. And think about it. I'll say this, that like, if people, I'll say this actually, that if you click on repository overview right now, what happens?
I haven't completed that page yet. I have to
Okay,
add
no, cool, no problem, no problem. It's a lot of content. So there's a couple of things. One is we should make sure that is the purpose a hyperlink? That section title? No. If not, then we should just use the same style that is used for the other H3s and H2s and H1s. That way, the bullet points you have that are Caribbean green, that's kind of neat. You might choose to use Keppel green, the darker green, because I think we've been I don't know. I mean, I think we've been using the Caribbean green for a hyperlink, maybe. So as to not. Anyway.
yeah, this is a
If,
case.
oh, I see. Yeah. If the handbook itself, like even.
Yeah, go ahead.
If the handbook itself was really just this, exactly what you have, with like no ability to go to a handbook landing page, it's just you go to /handbook and it says the Layer5 community handbook at the top, and then on the left hand side it just has the sections that you're navigating, and that's it. Like that's a great starting. I think that's a successful handbook. It's a great starting point. You might then consider what value an overview page provides, and from there, what value some intermediary pages that only highlight certain sections provides. Like, think about it. You might be falling into the trap of over engineering it, or like over trying to make it super awesome, and starting simple to begin with. You might find that things, it's looking, none of this is negative feedback. I'm just trying to offer thoughts. Like, it's great. Like, if you do let people, like one thing to overcome, they will be a part of what your concern about the height of the menu is, okay, I mentioned like an accordion that only allows one section to be expanded at a time. Okay, fine, that's one way. Another way would be like if you're on Meshry docs, you can be on a page and you still have the left-hand menu, but then you'll get an in-page set of anchors to help you navigate that, the subsections in the page. That's another approach. If you were to use that type of an approach on the community handbook, you could have that. So if you click on any page here, on the right-hand side, you'll see the in-page navigator for each section. You could have that something similar, but have it follow the user as they scroll up and down. Anyway, just thoughts, just things for Anita and you to think about.
Okay.
It's nice. It's good.
I think we'll have to experiment with this like a lot. It's just like from the scratch.
Oh, yep. Say it one more time.
We'll have to experiment with this a little bit.
Oh yeah,
This-
sure. Totally.
It's a little vague right now.
Totally. Anita, I wonder what would happen if, the community calendar there, like there's so much of what we're trying to do with the handbook about part of the goal of it is to centralize a lot of disparate pieces of info. And that's what you guys have been working on, which means that, which kind of sets it up for some duplication of information, which is, that's fine. I was just thinking aloud. I was going to think aloud about like the hyperlink to the community calendar. This is great. Like, hey, if you want, here's all the ways to connect. Great, perfect. Does it make sense to have a smaller version of the embedded calendar here? Maybe, because since it's dynamic, and the content will be updated on either page. Maybe having a calendar and a small version embedded here with a hyperlink to the full-blown page one. Maybe that feels good in the handbook. Just brainstorming out loud. So, by the way, I don't know where we say to join our discourse channel. Probably we want to say like, join our discussion forum, or like the service mesh discussion forum or something.
Yeah. Right.
Nice. Good, cool, okay. You clearly, you all are working on this. This is nice. A lot of progress. What's next? Oh, I forgot. Josh dropped off. Waiting for him.
No, I'm there, but you'll have to take over the sharing and all.
Okay, sure. So, Anita, anything else on the handbook before we?
No, really. All that's left is I told developer we should just create a pull request so we can merge that one and then create other issues from what we have now. That way we get other persons to engage on the UI of the handbook, whereas on the documentation there are like about 9 chapters. Yeah, so we want to like give each person a chapter to help make all the changes under that particular chapter.
Okay. Nice. And out of curiosity, is goodness still involved?
Yes, she's going to have one of those sections to herself.
Sweet. Nice. That's cool. Okay, perfect. That makes that path forward makes a lot of sense to me. All right, fair enough. So Josh is having to juggle 2 things. Josh, do you want to speak to these 2, or do you want me to cover them instead?
So for the maintenance check, like you can just open up the sheet that I have linked all the links. So this is basically I ran like a review for all the sites that we have currently. So, and what all links were broken I found. So I have asked in the channel, and I think Aditya has been creating issues for them and solving them as well. Aditya and Aditya Krishna both. So Aditya, can you give an update regarding this?
Yeah, so on the layer 5 IO, I have changed almost all, just two things. One is the Kuma tag blog post link. I like that one. I don't know what I'm supposed to change the link to. Right now, there's no existing page for it. It says Kuma service mesh. So I think that it's supposed to go to a Kuma blog post, but I couldn't find anything. And the other one is a large image link of DockerCon 18, number 4 over here. So there it just says large image. So, and it directs to a page. So I'm not sure what that's supposed to do. Is the large image supposed to show the image? If you just could go to the page.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
Oh, I think it's this. There's a. I'm not sure what there's a.
The other picture is a thumb dash square. If that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, that is. And I think that's probably what's being referred to is the larger version of this particular image.
This is the larger one. The square is the smaller one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this one says _thumb1.web.
Yeah, and if you remove the one and do dash square, like thumb dash square. Yeah, this is the. So if you go to the blog post, like the only link on the page, it just says large image. That's it. Yeah. See, large image. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Hopefully you'll find one in the.
I know there are images. So I'm just supposed to add the image, right? Because this directs to a page. It's not supposed to be directing to a page, right? It's supposed to just show the image.
Yeah, I mean, like even at that, like this, we should just remove.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And then if,
Get it smaller.
Yeah, either make this small. Yeah, do like this is, it's pretty grainy as it is, and so yeah, there's something to do to either. Wow, this one's grainy too. Like that.
Yeah, I think if you expand most of them, they become a little too big and they become a little grainy.
Yeah. If you go to the actual, even when you go to the actual page itself, it's
images are a little grainy.
But yeah, we don't necessarily need to link. We don't need to we don't need to explicitly link people to the large version. That's not the most helpful thing, or that's not. Sure, if they were to click this or something, or if we were to like, or when they expanded, if we showed them the large version, I mean, that might be nice, but. So, yep. Okay, good. Yep. So good. Anyway, you're working on these. Good.
Yeah, and also Kuma tag. I am not sure what that's about.
So for the Kuma tag, I think you can remove the link because that tag is not working currently. Maybe I'll get on to what we can do.
Okay, so I'll just remove it. Yeah, because there's a PR already. I just need to. Okay.
And Lee, I just wanted to add, like apart from these 4 sites, I also did run the check for the docs.meshy.io, and there were pretty much broken links as there as well, but I didn't add them into this list. So do I add them in this list?
I think, yeah, if you,
okay,
you would.
So this was just like the links maintenance check, and the other topic is the discourse one. That is basically Rudraksh has did the auto deploy and the auto mount of the secondary memory on reboot. So that all those things works, but so there has been a spike back for layer 5, like the discuss.layer5.io, but it's not a huge spike, so we are able to run it through. So it's been like from 3 days, the spike is around like 25%. So now I'm looking into, like, I asked the maintainers of this course regarding this, and they mentioned to look into the production logs at the so I am looking into the production logs to find out what all errors may be there. So I'm sharing a link of this as well. I'll share in Slack because I'm running 2 devices. So
Okay. Okay, very good. Yeah, no, that's very helpful to get their counsel. And I just have to say very briefly, like Anita, this is great. This is, yeah, I mean, that's really what this, it's really what this is like a recap of things that you might have missed last week. Hey, what's going to be happening coming up? That's great. So, yeah, Josh, I'll take a look at the link that you sent. We can compare against the resources allocated to the server currently.
So I'm also looking into the production logs, but like they're very big logs. So I'm finding out where it has occurred, if possible.
Yeah, and even right now, I don't know if it's the same for everyone else, but it's about a 4 or 5 second load time just then.
It's currently using 25% of CPU, which used to be 1-2% since 3 days.
And do you know, is there a consistent number of requests that it's receiving right now?
No, there's no such anything. Like there's no difference. Neither I have done anything, neither Rudraksh has done anything. I don't, and it is from 3 days. So probably like some serious. So like so as per my interaction with them, they're saying like there's some background issue. Like I think there's some background tasks are running. So we need to look like the issue is in our server itself. Like we need to look into the implementation of discourse that we did. Maybe we can find out what the issue is. So like we need to dig deep, because we know the image issue we had, the PNG one, and that also solved with so much of hassle. So
yeah, if there's a pattern to those spikes, that'll be indicative. That'll be helpful to identify.
They're consistent. Like from the 6th of August, they're consistent to 24 or 25%.
Okay, you mean just like continual overhead?
Yeah, straight line. And before that, just that day, it was straight line at 1%.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. And the logs going back to that 25, the start of the 25%. Any?
I'm looking at those.
Okay. Okay. Good. So Devapriya, hitting this last topic, did you end up finalizing on the operator page?
Yeah, I've done everything to the operator page. The one thing which was left was the call out, which again we were discussing about the design. So that is not finalized yet. I've not added it in till now. Wait.
Oh, I see. Okay. Is the operator page live now?
I think you have to check the preview because it hasn't merged yet.
Oh, I see. Okay. Thank you, Josh. Okay, fair enough. So there's, and then, oh yeah. Is this something for us to look at right now? This call out?
No, I'll make it mobile friendly. I was just talking about the design because Tanuj also mentioned if the design, like if we finalize on the design, I can continue with this.
Yeah, did Tanuj, or sorry, Tanuj had mentioned, had some feedback on the design?
He said that this is like the site is not Like,
So basically, I will reiterate what Saroj mentioned. The thing is, the button CSS that we have for this page is not as per the CSS that we have for other buttons on our site. Like the effect that we get on this one, the hover effect, doesn't add up to the other buttons that we have on the site. So he mentioned that if we could use a similar effect for those button as well, that might be good.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The thing. Yeah. I wonder how it would. So it's not that we can never bring anything new, but there is a lot of value in there's a lot of merit to consistency. I wonder if you were the black that's used here, I don't know if it's straight black or if it is the dark jungle green.
this is not green.
Black.
The dark jungle green is the call out, and this is black, I think. The footer is black.
Yeah, interesting how when they come close together. Yeah. One thing you might want to do, what happens if you do not add the outline, but if you use this same effect, but instead of the gray, there's green, so you're still using the green, but having it like.
So me and Aditya were working on this. So we added this border so that since the logo is being used as a button, like throughout this thing, the button was a normal button and some text. So since the logo was the button, we thought if we don't add this, it will not look like it's a button. Like people will not go and click on it. So in order to like attract the users towards that is why we had the border attached to it. And the hover was just for the design. Like we went a little crazy with it, but otherwise that was the purpose, so that people know it's just not a logo. It's like you can click on it and land on the page.
Right. Yeah, because they might, if they're literally one thing you might, it's great. I think exploring is fantastic. And one thing you might want to do, or I wonder how it would work if, like right now, part of what you're saying is, well, we took off the border, but it's not necessarily into, like when people read it, like join the conversation. Okay, ask questions, find it, discuss on our discussion forum. They're like, okay, so discussion forum, where's the discussion forum? Oh, okay. Like that's kind of, I think what you're saying is like, it's not necessarily obvious that this is something to click. And so I wonder if it's too much or not, if you activate this when someone rolls over any part of it. So they
necessarily on the logo.
Yeah, right. Maybe they roll here, the logo activates, they can actually click anywhere. This whole thing is a hyperlink. The only thing that moves is this. I don't know if that, like if you take the border off here, I don't know. I mean, like, again, just kind of brainstorming. If you take the border off and you don't show that so much as like a button, but if there's no border, even when it elevates, what you're just doing is like, you're sort of like providing a halo around like the fact that, oh, there's the thing that you're going to click when this turns to a hand right here and the whole thing is clickable. The thing you're going to get sucked into is the Discuss forum, and that might, I don't know, it's one thing to brainstorm.
That sounds interesting. We can try that. I can commit it and you can check it out if that works.
Yeah.
So do you want this hover effect when we enter that area, or should I remove that completely? Like just the logo?
No, let's see if let's keep exploring. Yeah, if you would activate the hover when someone hits here. Yeah.
Got it.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting thought. It might be that the outline looks pretty, but it also might be too much. I don't know. It might be that, okay, let's not have this hover. Let's not have the outline. It's just a relatively boring rounded rectangle. But when they hover anywhere, like here, okay, then the whole rectangle has this effect. Maybe that's the thing. Like, you know, and it would basically be a copy, like, you know, the same blur and distance and stuff as that one, but with green instead. Is, you know, maybe that's another thought. But yeah, no, it's good. And it's good to. There is something that is coming up, by the way, and that is, like, we did this intentionally initially. Is what's layer 5? Well, we represent every service mesh, and we're a community. And guess what? HPE has given this feedback quite a few times. Some of their executives have been here looking at what we're doing, and they're like, well, you know, layer 5 doesn't have a project, you know, because these are people who are like extraordinarily lazy visitors. Okay, so okay, you can join into the community. That's like one of the prominent buttons. Okay, well, I guess yeah, that's great. Got meshmates. And, actually, I don't know if you saw it just then, but that second picture was one of the HPE employees showing off Meshery. Anyway, my point is, they may not click this, and the thing is like, we don't have a screenshot here. So to the lazy viewer, it's like, well, I guess they don't have anything. They can click here. Huh? Oh, they've got the project. Okay. So my point is, what we'll end up needing a new banner. Not that it wouldn't follow the same, reuse the same, not that it wouldn't look the same, like have the same, but instead what it might have is a big fat screenshot. Or if Tanuj, is Tanuj with us? If Tanuj ends up getting a video going in Adobe After Effects that has a nice presentation of what Meshery does, that might be what we swap in. So, okay.
Or just to add to that, what the quick fix that we can do is moving the project section just above the engaging section.
Move the project section above the here. Yeah, that's a good, yeah. And I don't, if anyone knows what the common above the fold line, I don't know if this is like Devopriya, when you bring this site up in your laptop, how far down do you get? And like what's above the fold and below the fold? And to Nikhil's point, like, I don't think it hurts anything to go ahead and try moving this down and seeing like us saying, hey, we're here.
Community page. No, oh, this is the main page.
Well, for other people, how far down does your browser go when you load the page?
When I open it, my entire screen is, oh yeah, this is, yeah, the entire screen is covered with this banner.
Okay.
I do not see those things.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Mr. Sharma, we kind of perpetually miss talking about some of the stuff you're working on. So you've got an open PR on meshery.io that I think changes much of the outline, the look of the site to being, I don't know if you want to say like kind of a dark mode site or it's, and it looks pretty. I think at the time, the thought is, well, that looks pretty. This looks pretty. I don't know that that's compelling enough to change because it wasn't like, it was, yeah. Anyway, what we actually do need to focus on is well, an animated intro, like reducing the size of some of this up here, so that one of the first things that people get to, if many of you are only having this much of the screen show up, it's like good that we show this so that people can be intrigued and go look at it. but it'd also be nice if this was animated and this is walking people through it. Like we can put the getting started underneath, or we can remove this line and just say it's the service mesh management plan and then just start playing a video of it. Nikhil Sharma, you don't happen to have spent any time with video editing, either in Adobe After Effects or something else? Oh shit, I'm 12 minutes late.
No, actually. I think we have dropped this idea of changing the homepage for the Mesh.ai, I think.
Nikhil to say it. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be meeting with 2 of the CNCF board members right now. So I'm like 12 minutes late to spend time with them. I get it. I need to jump off. I apologize. Nikhil, maybe we can follow up on that in Slack.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. Thanks all. I'll talk to you.